Alright, welcome back everyone. Summer break is over, which means we are in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix. It's round 13. This is Zenith Online Racing. It's Tier 1. I'm Arbega. Glad to have you back, everyone. It's looking a little cloudy here tonight. Possibly some rain. Looks like a lot of people getting out there pretty quickly. Only guy in the medium's Doth, so if it does rain, he's going to be the only guy in the mediums to start, which could prove beneficial. It does look like it could rain. It is very dark, and it looks like everyone is pushing, like trying to get around as quickly as possible, jockeying for position. Where is our good friend, Mr. Packer? Where is he? You know he's out there. There's his friend Nathan just in front of him. So, Packer not the first guy out on track this week, and Nathan taking a page out of his friend's book here. But the way I see everyone scrambling out there so quickly, I would imagine the rain's coming any minute. I don't think I've ever seen so many people just take off at the beginning of a qualifying session like that. Unless everyone was just really raring to go after the summer break. But Nathan, looks like he's trying to cover off Packer a little bit here. Packer not sure if he wants to go by or not. Really riding him, and he's gonna... No, he's backing off now. It looks like it is damp almost even. Like there's a bit of a tail behind the cars. Maybe that's just the exhaust, but... So our first hot lap of the day, for probably the first time all season, is actually going to be Nathan, and you see Packer in tow behind. No weather update yet, but that's probably because everybody's busy out there trying to get a lap on the board. So we're on board with Nathan through a Radion, up the hill, and we got a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm trying to remember all these corner names. I meant to look at them before the race to rush up, but I slipped up. If I'm not mistaken, this one is Rochelle? Rochelle? And then the next one's No Name, I do believe. See how accurate I am. Everybody can grade my blind corner calling. This is Puhan. One of the best corners on the calendar. Shit. I mean, oops. I forget the name of this one. I used to know it quite well, but I don't remember it anymore. And obviously, we know Blanchemont's coming up at the end of this sector. Sector 3 here. Blanchemont into the bus stop chicane. Yeah, we'll brush up on that between quality and the race, just to refresh my mind on some of those ones I've drawn a blank on. But you know, we got the big ones. We know the big ones. The old bus stop. See what Nathan does. He's gone. Oh, his lap's been invalidated, I believe, because it did not count. So Packer actually goes on to the top of the timesheets, 41.7. Into Eau Rouge. Obviously not pushing now. It's on the cooldown lap, but let's see if we can find... Let's check out on Doth here. On those medium tires for his first run. See what kind of time he can put up. It's one of his favorite tracks, so I'll be surprised if Doth puts an absolute stonker down, to quote Doth. 42.7 for Doth on those mediums. So Seabass, Sam tucking behind on softs. Fuzz just ahead of Doth there. On these soft tires. Sharpshooter with a really good time there, 42.1, so showing he's obviously competitive with this group. Early on, I believe he's a full-time reserve. Joshua slides into P2. That's a really nice quality run there from Mr. Joshua. Not too far off of Packer's time, so really good first lap there from Joshua. Let's see if we can find somebody else making their way around. I guess Nathan would be on a second run, perhaps, here? No, he's invalidated again. What about Fushin? It's on an out lap. T-Money pushing. It looks like T-Money is pushing, so let's ride with T-Money. T-Money usually good for a weather update. My mic? You guys missing me here? Let me check this real quick, make sure we're good. No, everything's fine. Don't say yo Mike in the chat as the first comment of the night, because that would make me think that the last 6 minutes of me talking were not picked up. Unless you're calling somebody Mike. Sun's out though. I don't think we're going to see any rain. Oh, Micah. Micah. Okay. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. T-Money 43.3. So not a great time there for T-Money off the hop. Nathan has gone and put mediums on now. Packer is back out there already, which is something he doesn't usually do too often. But I guess this being such a long lap, it would make sense that he would go back out, try and get himself maybe even 3 laps in. It's pretty tricky. Third lap is always pretty nip and tuck, but got Beck here. Is he on a flyer? He is. Let's ride with Beck as he makes his way down the hill towards Eau Rouge and crests over the curve through Radillon and down the Kemmel Straight. One of the most famous overtaking spots in F1. Famous Schumacher-Hakkinen. Had a little conversation about that after the race, and Beck now making his way through Sector 2 here in Spa. So good to be back after the break week last week. We're into round 13 of 18, so starting to get pretty close towards the end of the championship here. Nathan going to be looking to add to his tally, try and he's invalidated. Durnia has invalidated. A lot of people invalidating tonight so far. But yeah, Nathan going to be looking to add to his tally and secure that championship as we move into the final few weekends of the season. I believe, I think Packer has to outscore him pretty much from here on out to close the gap. Like he has to beat him every single race kind of thing. Ryan making his way through Sector 2 now. He's going to come down the hill as we head to Puhan. Should be almost flat. That first turn in is a little bit of a lift, but this part should be flat. You don't want to be leaning on the rubber too much on the outside of that turn either, so that's very easy. If the car is has a lot of load through it, if you try to take that second part of Puhan flat, you're going to end up in the barrier. So it cleared up pretty nicely there. It's quite sunny all of a sudden. A little bit of cloud back here still, but not much. And it looks like we'll be on for a solid dry quali here. But obviously weather in the air, you never know what could happen for the race. Ryan now makes his way through the bus stop to the start-finish line. What kind of time can he set? 42.4 for Ryan, so he's right in the mix with that midfield group. You see very tight there, 42.1 for Camden. We're looking all the way down to 42.9 to P12, so that's a pretty tight field for such a long lap, and yeah, 9 positions covered there in less than a second. I can take a look at Fushin's on board in a bit. Actually, now that we're off a hot lap, let me get to him. Is he doing a push lap yet? No, he's in the pits, so we'll get to him next time. Obviously, we have some Fusion fans in the chat here, so Gotta give the people what they want. But don't get too demanding. Arbiga can giveth, Arbiga can taketh away. Doth loves Spa. I'm going to ride on the side pod here of Doth as he makes his way through his second run around Spa. He just looks like absolutely dialed in here, doesn't he? Doth just looks quick at this circuit. It's one of his best. Wow, Nathan with a 41 flat on the mediums. That is a blistering lap. No Felipe. Doth, 41.9. Felipe was a bad boy last race, so he's gone. There'll be no more Felipe. Joshua, no, he's invalidated us, but he did. It was a really competitive time he set there. It's just been edged out by so many guys. Like, I mean, really look at the spread here. Sam, Doth, Camden, they're ahead by like 2/10, and it's 4 positions or so. Nice job there for Joshua early in quali. His teammate Durnia has invalidated his first run, so he's gonna have to slap a new set of tires on there and go for another run. Comes Puff. He's about to set a legitimate time here, not invalidated. So what can he do? 42.3 for Puff. You know, that's a competitive time. He's right in the mix with everybody. Just unfortunately, it's P10. Beck on his outlap again. Durnia on a flyer again. Let's ride with Durnia here and see what he can do. Just exited the Kemmel straight now. Whoa, that's a big tank slapper. He caught that nicely, but that's going to cost him a huge chunk of time. Wow, so many Fusions fans. Can't believe it. It's pretty impressive for a debut. Obviously has a cult following here. Pumping up our numbers in the comment and view side. So we'll take it. That's why he was signed. He was given a seat just for audience purposes. Try and boost our numbers. Durnia making his way through Sector 2. Let's see what kind of split he's got here. It says purple, but it always says purple because Codemasters is broken. And he's going to make his way through toward Blanchimont. Should be always flat out here unless it's raining. Maybe just a light lift in the rain. Unless you have balls of steel, perhaps you can stay on it. But Durnia's invalidated again, so frustration for Durnia as he has not set a time yet. There's 4 minutes to go in this session, so he's got to get back out there and get one on the board. Here comes Fusions. Let's put him on screen. We got the fans in the chat. His lap time is valid currently. Making his way through Sector 2. He's up 5/10 on his previous run, so that would put him still P16, but closer to the other drivers. Let's see if he can find himself a second here in this final sector and put himself up near P14, 13. Going to be a lot to ask here, though. Really deep on the apex there, and then that sort of just throws off his momentum into the final chicane corner. 43.5 for Fusions. It's pretty much the pace he was on through Sector 2. So, not surprising, but he's got some work to do. Fusions fans will feel a slight disappointment. Happy to see their man on track, but obviously hoping for a bit more competitive of a time. Up-and-comer, they say, though. So perhaps he'll get it together before the end of quali, or at least in the race. On board with Scabney now. One of the Tier 2 Championship challengers, moved up at the halfway point of the season. Now fighting for points week in, week out here in Tier 1, so obviously made a good move there. Probably a bit disappointed to be pulling himself out of a championship contention, but he'll be happy with himself to be scoring points consistently here in Tier 1. It'll be something a little more rewarding in a sense, if that makes any sense. Like, fight a lot harder for less points, and just feels like a very it's more of a challenge, you know, overall. Obviously, he's invalidated here, though. I could hear the engine lifting. Take a look through the field. Anybody else out on their run yet? We got a lot of people on out laps at the moment, but nobody on a run except for Sam, who also moved up. Scavney's rival from Tier 2 followed him up here. It's a nice little tow from Camden there. So Sam and Scavney have been both really competitive here in Tier 1 since they moved up. Fusion's in the pits. He's not going to get back out for another run, so he is going to be starting P17 at the moment. Possibly even P18 if Durnia gets a lap time on the board, which he is out on an out lap right now. So pretty much do or die for Durnia here. Has to get this one done. Sam we see on a run here, making his way through Sector 2. He's a little bit ahead of Doth there. We'll check in with Doth in a moment. Some other cars out on track. There's no med kits out here, unfortunately. Fusions needs an upgrade package to the chassis. This is what it looks like so far. Sam about to finish his timed run. He's currently P5. Can he improve? He does improve slightly, but does not actually gain any places. Doth up slightly on his previous run. He's actually backing out of this. It looks like he's going to charge the battery up and go for another run here. Which is not a bad idea at all if he was barely up. So Doth just about to start a final run here. Got another warm-up lap on those tires. Let's check in with Joshua. No, how about Sharpshooter? Who's at the end of the run there? It looks like Beck, maybe. Beck's done. He's out of fuel, it seems. So he's done for the day. Is that Packer on a run? It is. Whoa, Packer's out! Whoa! That is insane. What a crash from Packer there. He was really pushing for that pole position, and you see that pressure Nathan puts on him when he's here. Mistakes that Packer normally wouldn't make, they tend to come out of the woodwork there. That was quite the impact. Where were we? Doth on a run, Joshua on a run. Let's check in with Joshua. He's about to finish his lap. So he's down on his time. He's P7 currently. I don't think he's going to improve. He does not. Sharpshooter making his way to the end of the lap. He's well off the pace. Who do we have? Durnia. Is that Durnia coming through for his last run? He is. This one does count, so could see a huge jump here from Durnia. He's been in the top 5 quite often this season. See if he can secure this one and jump into that top 10. Puff into P7, Durnia into P6, Doth into P7 now. So nice run from all those guys on the final one. And look how close those times are. Durnia, Doth, Puff, all split by a 10th. P4 down to P14, all a second covering those guys. So we're looking at a pretty competitive field here tonight. Lots of overtaking to be had in Spa, so there shouldn't be any massive trains or you know, guys getting stuck in traffic for too long. There's plenty of places to get by here, so we see very competitive times in the field. Everybody running really close together. We should see a lot of DRS. Should see a lot of overtaking tonight, and probably a lot of cars running pretty close together. I wouldn't say necessarily a train. Yeah, was it lag for you, Packer? Because it looked a little odd, like your car snapped and then it just kept going. Fusions needs to go faster. Well, yeah, I mean, to put it in layman's terms, yeah, he needs to go faster. He's starting dead last, so he's going to have to up his game for the race. That's it for qualifying. We'll run you through the order in a moment. Get you ready for the race. Nathan dominating qualifying here by 6.5 tenths over Packer. Packer P2, Dylan P3, Camden P4, Sam takes P5. That's a nice quality performance from Sam, as we mentioned. Moved up from Tier 2, and he's just barely off Camden, who's been a competitor in Tier 1 all season and last season. So Sam doing really well here. Doth P6, Durnia P7, P8 for Puff, 9th for Joshua, 10th for Sharpshooter. Janet P11, he's going to have the tire choice there. It'll be very beneficial for him. Fuzz P12, Ryan P13, Beck 14, Scabney 15, T-Money 16, Seabass 17, and Fusions will start P18 tonight. He'll be fine, as long as he stays in the race. Hopefully we just don't see any Rouge incidents. Looks like it's sunny. Obviously, we have this rule where people aren't supposed to ready up until the race director gives the go-ahead, so keep an eye on that column on the right there. If you see a check mark beside anyone besides Puff in the next minute or so, it's probably going to be a penalty applied to them. But so far, so good. Yeah, what was I going to say? I was going to look up between... Oh, the corner names. Let's do that. Spa corner names. Eau Rouge, Radion, Camel Straight, Lake Home, that's the one. Burchell, Puhan, 11 is no name. 13, there's 13 no name. It doesn't have a name either. Let me check, this one has a name. Nope. That one's got really outdated names. We got Campus, Stavelot, Curb Paul Ferrer, and then Blanchimont, the Chicane, La Source. Yeah, we know them all now. We're good. We brushed up. Did a little studying between sessions. There's the telemetry off the screen. I'm a big fan of not cluttering the screen, so that will be gone for most of the race. So Nathan on pole. We got Packer in P2. Down in P3, we got Dylan. Camden P4. Ryan's been disqualified from the session here. And back. Looks like they may be collided. Sam starting P5. Doth P6. Oh, let's get those tires up. What are we doing here? Doth P6. Durnia Puff. Joshua Sharpshooter. All on soft tires. Rounding out the top 10. Janet is P11. And everybody outside the top 10 has opted for the medium tires besides Fusions. He's on the soft tire Fusions, and he's looking to make a run from P18. Fusions fans in the chat tonight, he's starting on the softs in P18, so he better make up some ground, or he's going to be in big trouble. Eric has made it in for the race, so 19 cars now. Eric fitted with the medium tires. That's the grid. Get back to the front here. Nathan on pole, looking to extend his championship lead, looking to cement this thing as we head into the final 5 rounds of the season. We're wrapping things up. Where's the final race this year? Let me take a look. Italy is the final race of the season. 5 left after tonight. So 21st of June, Italy, season finale. Surely we'll have a champion crowned before then, I would wager. Wow, you guys brought a whole squad tonight. The Fusion squad. We got people beefing Fusions. We got people supporting Fusions. I mean, whatever brings the people in, right? Controversy equals audience. And so far, it's paying off. The admins will get us a pat on the back for signing Fusions, creating controversy in the chat, creating viewership. The world wants to see him succeed and or fail. But the real story tonight, Nathan on pole position, Packer in P2. The summer break is over. It's Zenith Online Racing. This is Tier 1. It's round 13. We are in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps. We are ready to go racing. Let's get those lights fired up. 5 lights are on, and we're racing. Looks like a pretty good start for Nathan. Packer off to a nice start as well, but Dylan sliding down the inside gets an absolute monster launch. He goes up into P2 on the start. Everybody into La Source here, and everybody looks to be through clean. We have a virtual safety car, though. What on earth is that for? We have a VSC here. That's going to be really tricky, and what that's going to do actually is kind of give everybody a little bit of a safety net with their tires. They don't really have to push through Rouge on lap 1 here, and they'll be nice and warm by the time they come back around after this VSC lifts. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. It looks like everybody's still running, so a bit strange to see that. And the VSC should be ending shortly, seeing as there's really nothing going on here. Nathan off to a good start, though. Unfortunately, Packer lost a place to Dylan here. And Puff down in P10. Lost a couple places, I think, as well. Unless that would happen during qualifying, perhaps. So we're racing again. And Nathan almost with a second lead already. And Dylan's going to be the one trying to hunt him down while Packer tries to get that P2 back. There's Fusions and Fuzz scrapping. Fusions taking a look down the inside here. Bit of a tricky place to go for a move. Nothing really doing there. And that's probably going to put him in a bit of an odd spot with Ryan chasing behind now. Ryan down the inside. Oh, it's going to be wheel to wheel. Fusion's doing nicely to leave space there. Ryan being very tentative, and the McLaren behind trying to find a way through. Beck getting a little desperate, trying to find a spot. Some pretty good racing here. Fusions on the back now as T-Money's got by him as well. And looks like Packer has gone back into P2, has he? No, Dylan. We know Dylan is actually not P1 because you can see Nathan there in front. Blue flags waving, that doesn't make any sense. Nathan obviously is in the lead, that timing is wrong. Puff has gone into the pits here. So has there been wing damage? Yeah, Puff is missing a huge chunk of his wing here. So he's pitting for wing. Not sure what kind of tires he's putting on. Fuzz has pit. Oh, sorry, Eric has pit. Fusions has pit for hards. And the timing is absolutely whack right now. Whoa, we got some wheel-to-wheel here. That's Fuzz and Scavney wheel-to-wheel. I'm thrown off by seeing Fuzz in the AlphaTauri. I've never seen him drive that car. I was like, who is this? Wow, wheel-to-wheel all the way through Burchell and the no-name corner now into Puhan. Scavney has the inside line. Oh, they touched. Fuzz touches the back wheel of Scavney, and he gets away with it. He lives to see another day. That's a tricky place to be going wheel-to-wheel. And usually contact ends in misery there. Fuzz with a big lock up there. Really seems to be lagging a little bit. Doing nicely, though, hanging beside these cars through tricky parts of the circuit. On the grass a bit. Oh, and he's pushed Ryan a bit wide there. Fuzz got onto the grass. Oh, someone's off. That's Sharpshooter who's made a mistake, and he is off. And it looks like Fuzz going to get this place back. Or, sorry, Ryan going to get this place back from Fuzz. And T-Money, Sharpshooter has fallen in behind T-Money now. Is Sharpshooter going to pit? No, he stays out, so no damage for him. Just ran really wide, it seems. Eric's got a penalty already. Back to the front here. Joshua following Jinnit and his teammate through Aradion. down the Kemmel Straight. We should have DRS now, and we do. So all 3 cars here with DRS. Can anyone find the leg up here? Big lock up there for Joshua. Doth is applying a serious amount of pressure to Sam as well. Let's get back to Jinnit. Taking a look at Durnia here. Durnia's made a big mistake, and Jinnit has having a sniff on these mediums, looking like a much better tire here on lap 3. The softs do fall off pretty quickly here. Such a long lap. So many high load corners. Fusions fans are in shambles in the chat. Very upset with their man tonight. Obviously, they put a lot of money on him, and they're losing all of it currently. So Fusions got to step it up. Don't want to let his fans down. Doth closing nicely on Sam here through Blanchimont, heading towards the bus stop chicane. Doth can have a look here. Is he going to? No, he's going to tuck in and bide his time here, because he clearly has the pace to get by Sam. He just needs to wait for that perfect moment, and that more than likely is going to come down the Kemmel Straight. It's a bit tough to make an overtake here. The straight just not long enough. So Doth just going to get a nice exit out of La Source and see if he can make a move through Eau Rouge and Radion as they head into Lake Combe. Kemmel Straight, Doth has it wide open here, and you could just see he was biding his time. He looked quicker, and he was just being patient. So Doth through on Sam. He's going to go hunt down Camden. Luca now, who is sort of floating in no man's land at the moment, just losing touch with Packer, but is a fair bit away from Doth. So we'll check in with those two in a moment. Get back to the battle with the Ferraris and Jinnit, the Mercedes sandwich. Nathan with a penalty already here in P1. So Dylan close enough to get that position. Sam under pressure now from Durnia as well. So Sam seeming to be struggling just a little bit here in the early stages. Just not able to keep his tires in the right spot, it would seem. He's got 3 cars, very fast drivers in tow, and they're going to be all over the back of him by the end of the Kemmel Straight. So Doth making his way up the road. He's out of DRS on Sam now, not really a threat there anymore, so Doth can just focus on closing on Camden, which it looks like he's going to be able to do. He does seem to have the pace to chip away at that interval, so should see Doth versus Camden in probably about 5 to 6 laps time, maybe through the pit stop window. Possibly an undercut could work. See Durnia now close up to the back of Sam, and Jinnit lost touch a little bit there, so that's going to put Joshua in play to perhaps make a move. Fusions is out. Fusions has retired from the session, so I believe he has lost the car. Puff Digital making his way around. We have a full safety car here, and yes, he has crashed in a very familiar place. A lot of people do lose the car there. Fusions out. I imagine our numbers will begin dwindling any moment. All the fans exiting. The Fusions fans are very upset. We have a full safety car here, so is going to play into the hands of all these soft runners who probably were going to pit at the end of this lap anyways. And we got Puff into the pits, going to get off those tires. Good call for Puff. I feel he's not really losing anything, and he's going to get all his time back. Makes sense. So Nathan, we should see pit. All these guys on softs really need to pit at this point. And guys on mediums are in a bit of a pickle here. I would say if they put the hards on, they're going to the end. But they could just keep running and hope for another one. How much was the check for? Yeah. Rough going for Fusions there. But, I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So we got a safety car now. The unfortunate part about safety cars in Spa is they tend to be at least a couple laps long, and we only have 22 of them anyway. So it's a bit of a bummer. I'm going to sit here for about 6 minutes under this horrendous safety car pace. And I don't think anybody should stay out. I think everyone has to pit here. Except for the medium guys. I don't blame them for staying out. Kind of a good call in my opinion, but still, even though I think if you're running the mediums and you're a little further down the field, it might be worth it just to pit off of them anyway. So Zenith now the effective leader, although he has not pit. So see Nathan's come out in P5, fresh mediums. So he was the previous race leader, now down to P5. So all these guys have moved into the top 4 by staying out during the safety car period. We'll see if they struggle or if they maybe made a nice move there and they can stretch their legs a little bit out front. Remains to be seen. T-Money on fresh hards, so anyone on hards definitely going to the end. Guys on mediums, it's a bit iffy from here. I think 16 laps on the mediums is probably doable, although there's 16 very long laps, so it's hard to say. I think guys like Durnia, Joshua, they're going to try it for sure. Sam, Doth, they're going to try it. Doth likes the extended tire strategies. But if you look at all these guys that pit some mediums and they're all going to try to go to the end, we definitely could see some punctures before it's all said and done. I'm not really sure what the tire estimations are here, but I'd imagine 16 laps is... I guess if you're going soft medium, you'd probably be pitting around now anyway. Maybe they'll get there. It's going to be a matter of how much life can you keep in them, I suppose. Can you actually race? And then field spread and whatnot. Like, we could see someone like Zenith with very good pace get out on those softs and start picking off these old medium runners. Just depends what Zenith can do on the restart here. If Zenith gets a good restart, though, and he's not under pressure and just pulls away, I think he can extend about lap 15 and then probably slap softs on till the end of the Grand Prix and be nice and competitive. Obviously has that gear glitch, so not much fun riding on board with him. Oh, my prediction for the Habs Leaf series? Well, geez. It's going to be gritty, I think. But I think the Leafs will take it. I mean, the Leafs got to take it. They can't lose. I mean, they got to beat them. I mean, even just like a fandom aside, like the Leafs are supposed to be one of the best teams. So if I was going to take away my heart, I'd say 4-2 for Leafs for the series. The Leafs win at 4-2. As a fan, it's going to be 4-0, and we're going to beat you like 8-0 every week, so, or every game. So that's my fan opinion. But in a realistic sense, yeah, I think it'll be 4-2. So I think the Leafs will go up 2-0. Montreal will get one back. Leafs will go up 3-1. Montreal will have their backs against the wall. They'll get another win, but then the Leafs will put it away. And it's not going to Game 7. It's going to be gritty, though. That's for sure. And I think I'd really like to see the Leafs in Winnipeg again. So I kind of want them to beat Edmonton, because I think that'll be like a really good series. They were getting really chippy there. So that would be a lot of fun to see. If the Leafs lose to the Habs in round 1, I'm never watching hockey again. That's a famous line. Puff will know what I'm talking about. Speaking of Puff, down in P18, had a rough start to the race again. It's been a pretty rough season for Puff overall, but he's erased the time deficit and he's got a fresh set of mediums, so... Yeah, well, that's because literally there's no way it happens. There's no way. Sean Tortorella? Is that a play on John Tortorella? Like, where did you come from? We're just happen to be talking about hockey, and this dude with a very relevant username pops in. Like, I guess that's hilarious. Habs in 7? I don't know, man. Sean Tortorella. Leafs out in the first round. Part of my delay in answering Bobby's question was Simon is Bobby, by the way. Part of my delay in answering that question was thinking, like, are they just going to choke and get knocked out in the first round again? But they can't this year. They're too good, right? Like, I sure hope so. Anyway, back to the racing. Zenith getting those tires nice and toasty, and he knows exactly when he's going to go. No one else does. Those guys weaving behind him are probably taking a bit of a gamble here, because Zenith could just punch it at any moment. They're not going to be ready to react. There goes Zenith. Nice early launch into the corner, and off he goes. We're racing again. Zenith with a very good restart. Got a nice cushion there, but Nathan, those fresh mediums, is all over Beck already. Is he going to send it into La Source? No, he does not. Whoa, nice wheel-to-wheel there, Nathan and Beck. Oh, this is a very dangerous position for Nathan, but he manages to squeak just in front. Beck all over the back of him through Radion. That was very close. Packer sitting behind watching that, licking his chops. Dylan taking a look at Beck now as well. Packer taking a look at Dylan. So let's get to Packer. Let's ride with Packer's POV and see if we can get a good look at this little scrap here. Beck doing his damnedest to fight these guys, and he's locking up. He's got these two right on his tail now. Ryan and Nathan going wheel to wheel. Nathan around the outside. Gets it done. So Nathan almost back into P2 here. Making a charge back to the front. Dylan all over back here. It's bringing Packer along as well. And Ryan. Whoa, they've touched. Big contact. Dylan is off the road there. They were wheel to wheel through Blanchard. Oh, and he's nearly been down. Sam and Matthew Nernia nearly collected Dylan as he came back on the track there. That was very close. Oh, man. And Packer is through on Beck. So, yeah, it looks like Packer and Dylan wheel to wheel. And Dylan got that little side pod bump and just sent his car right off the road. Very typical. We see that a lot when cars go side by side. There's a certain place where it's contacted by the other car. It just seems to send you around. But here comes Packer. All over Ryan here. We got Doth pressuring Beck from behind now as well. Terrible angle, but there goes Packer. And Doth does not get through on Beck. Anyway, some bad camera shots there. So Packer around the down the inside, I guess, and then it became the outside in the chicane. Oh, we got an incident. Nathan's had an issue. Nathan has had a moment here. He's gone wide. Packer is through. So Packer all over the back of Scavney now, trying to get ahead and put a wedge between him and Nathan. Nathan just had a moment there, and we've seen him bottle it from the lead a few times, so he's definitely one of those drivers that's always on the edge, and saved himself there, but I've seen a lot of people crash out in that part of the circuit as well, so he's lucky. He's lucky it wasn't another DNF there for him. Sam and Dernia through Blanchard. They touch. Ooh, Dernia nearly. Again, that's one of those corners that looks easy when you're on your own, but when you're wheel to wheel with another car, it becomes very tricky. And Nathan goes through on Scavney, so now it's Nathan versus Packer head to head. Zenith stretching his legs a little bit at the front, but he's not really got that slot at the back to pit yet. Needs to keep going. See if he can extend. Yeah, wheel to wheel through Blanchimont. It doesn't look like it would be bad, but you have to be on the perfect line through there to go flat out, and if you're on the inside or the outside, it tends to end in tears. Nathan all over Packer here. Packer can't do a damn thing about it. Has no DRS to defend, and Nathan just goes through. Packer giving him a little bit of a weave there just to make him think that he might come back through, and Doth gets the move done on Beck as well. So nice move from Doth there. Goes purple in Sector 1. Fastest man on track at the moment. We're back to the Mercedes and Ferrari sandwich, but this time it's Dylan. Dylan is the meat in the sandwich today. Or this time, not today. Yes, I did say sandwich. Sam all over Beck now, so Beck just sliding down the order here, really struggling. He's on the older medium tires, just getting picked off here. Really just hoping for a safety car at this point. Joshua behind, applying that pressure to Dylan. You can just see it in the background there a bit. Sam all over the back of Beck now. They head to the bus stop chicane, and Durnia is right there too. Durnia taking a look at Sam. Oh, he has a big lock up there, and that's put Dylan alongside him. Dylan goes through the bus stop chicane. Dylan gets the place as they head into La Source. Joshua and Camden all now applying the pressure as well. There goes Camden down the inside. Gets it done on Durnia. And, oh, they're still wheel-to-wheel, actually. So Camden and Durnia are going to go side by side through Rouge. Not recommended. Camden does the smart thing there and just tucks back in. But he's got Joshua on his tail now. So here goes Camden, trying to take a look at Durnia. Durnia has DRS to defend with, but Camden going to take that outside line, see if he can just close in and sweep around. They're wheel-to-wheel. Camden and Durnia still side by side. And Durnia keeps the place. Nice racing from those two. And Joshua having a sniff now as they head into Burchell. Is Joshua going to get it? He does get it, so Camden has to sit tight for a moment. Oh, someone very wide there. I think it was Seabass. Nearly into the barricade there. A great racing here in the midfield. Seen a lot of nice wheel-to-wheel action. Guys leaving each other's space. Good respect from everyone there. You know, pushing each other to the absolute limit without doing anything questionable. Saw very little space left, but always legally enough. And that's how you have to race here in Tier 1. And that's how you got to race in this midfield. It's very nip and tuck here. These guys do not have much of an advantage over each other. It's just, it's always a really tight field here. The front runners, those same guys every week, are usually out front, but the rest of the pack, very close. Comes Camden on Fuzz now. So Fuzz trying to take a look as well, it seems. Here comes Dylan following back through Radion. He's right on his tail. Nice shots there. And, yeah, swings to the outside. I don't think it's going to matter much for Beck. Beck does have DRS to defend with, though. So they're still wheel-to-wheel as they head into Lake Combe. Beck yielding. Oh, he gets bumped off a little bit there. I'm not sure if Dylan needed more space or Dylan just maybe lost the car a little bit. But Beck. Oh, what's going on here? Joshua's off the road. He's lost a huge chunk of his wing. So some kind of incident here has put Joshua in a bad spot. He has absolutely no grip left. He's got a long way to go back to that pit lane as well. I say it looked like Durnia and Joshua perhaps wheel-to-wheel there. Maybe Dylan. Not too sure. I did miss that. I saw in the background some cars doing something erratic, and then by the time I figured out what was going on, Joshua was sliding down the order. Eric moving up the field a bit. On Seabass Puff up into P14 now. Let's get to Scavney, who's really applying pressure to Ryan here. Oh, Ryan's had a spin. Ryan has spun in a very precarious position. Wow, he spun into the bus stop chicane and had to get it turned around while all these cars were coming through. That was bizarre. Don't see a lot of mistakes from Ryan. He's a very consistent driver generally. Nathan is all over the back of Zenith here. I don't think Zenith's going to be able to do a thing about this. He's not going to fight much. Just trying to extend his mediums here. And he's got a nice cushion to the guys behind. He's going to want to get a cheap pit stop, though, before he thinks about coming in. Going to hope for something. Doth now making that move on Scavney. So Doth running very nicely here. He's pretty much the best of the rest here. I'd say he's the third quickest car out here. Nathan Packer, top 2, but Doth looking poised for another podium here. If he can keep things together. Zenith's got a lot of work to do if he wants to fight for a podium today. He needs a much bigger cushion. Doth running very nicely today. Really good in quali, looks hooked up, and the race pace is coming to life here for him. So, still about, I guess, about a third of the way to go, and a lot can happen in that time, but as long as Doth stays consistent, he should be good. So Beck sliding down the order here. He's still hanging in there, though, pace-wise, with Dylan and Durnia. Packers now closing on Zenith as well. And we got cars in the pit, Scavney's pit, Ryan's pit. So a few guys diving in now, get off those medium tires. Joshua to the softs. Scavney to the softs. So yeah, pretty much the soft window is open. Zenith has extended his gap a little bit. You see Packer's gotten through, but he is extending to Doth a tad on these old mediums, so that's promising for Zenith. And imagine with the other guys pitting right now, it might be worth it for Doth or Zenith to consider pitting as well to cover off the undercuts. The longer he stays out, the more those guys will gain on him. Though they weren't particularly close to him, were they? Hard to say, really. Beck still hanging in there, though. He's got Durnia pressuring him. Fuzz and Camden closing in. Seabass applying some pressure to Eric. Let's go check in on that. We haven't seen Seabass much tonight. Older mediums, but maybe just a slight pace advantage over those mediums. Or sorry, over those hards that Eric's running. Looks like Scavney's got by Seabass now. So Zenith pits. See where he comes out. He's going to have a lot of work to do regardless. I'm thinking he's going to come out behind Puff even here. A longer pit stop here. Here comes Durnia, closing on Beck through Radion. Yeah, he's right on his tail. He's going to have that DRS advantage, and he should have this done quite easily. He can go get after Dylan ahead. Scavney all over Eric here. Fresh softs as well. Should be able to get by. Zenith has come out just in front of Puff. Oh, big moment there for Zenith. Just looked like his tires were not warmed up. He sort of missed the apex of the corner there. He's pressuring T-Money here, trying to get by, but needs a little more grip in those tires before he can do something in that corner. on board with Dernier here. He's closing very quickly on Dylan here. So Dernier looking like he's got some really good pace here. We're going to go wheel to wheel through Blanche-Chaumont. Dernier on the grass a little bit, but just enough to get ahead. Dylan taking a peek, but thinks better of it. So Dernier up into P5. Doing very well for himself. Now Jinnit all over the back of T-Money here. We should see... Oh, Beck's out. Oh, no, Beck has spun. Big spin for Beck. Get himself turned around nicely. And he's going to get going again. So no safety car. No VSC. And Beck stays in the Grand Prix, but obviously has lost a lot of time now. And he has a long way to go to get back to that pit lane. Very, very long way to go. Comes Dylan on Dernier, though. Going to try and get this place back, and he does. So Dylan and Dernier having a nice little scrap here. Trading positions back and forth. Scabney gets by Beck, unsurprisingly. Beck's struggling now with that big wing damage. Buzz within the DRS of Camden, who's trying to whittle the gap down to Dernier up ahead. The scrap between Dernier and Dylan will definitely help Camden. And towards the end of the Grand Prix, Camden's going to have more tire life in those hards than they will in the mediums. Sector 1 and 2, we have a yellow flag. That's Mr. Joshua, I believe. Is it? Yeah, looks like he's just getting going again here. Yellow flag in Sector 2 now. Is that Beck again? No, it's Eric. Eric's had a moment. All kinds of stuff going on here. A lot of guys seeming to be struggling at the moment. Jinnit back into the points. Fresh softs. So, you know, everybody is within striking distance for Jinnit here. He can easily get back to P5 at the very least. Probably even P4. So Jinnit going to be a man to watch here as he charges through the field, trying to chase down his podium. And I suppose if we look through the field at the gaps, there's not a whole lot going on behind Jinnit. So the action we see is in front of Jinnit. That looks like Dernier and Dylan again. Let's get up here to Dernier. See if Dernier can get back through again. Dernier down the inside on Dylan. Dylan's got this one covered off this time, though. Oh, and now Dernier with the switchback, though. What a beautiful move from Matthew Dernier. Absolutely carves his way through the chicane and gets the place. Now he's got about 90% of the track to make up the gap. He needs to cover that DRS off. Eric is out. He is DNF'd. I think he's put it in the pit lane and DNF'd. Dylan going to try and fight that back. And now Camden and Jinnit in play. So the action is getting very spicy here. And these guys are trying to hunt down that final podium position. Dernier going to look to chop down the time to Sam and Doth. And Dylan, Camden, Jinnit want to get through and try and start their charge toward the podium as well. So see Jinnit now all over Camden on these fresh softs. Camden on the old, or well, I guess they're kind of old hards. He's going to have a lot of work to do here. Jinnit, I think, has the pace to get back to that podium. He just needs to make a couple moves very soon and try and start his charge. I don't think he can afford to lose much more time. Oh, a big tank slapper there for Jinnit. That's going to hurt him a lot. He needed to get by. Now he's lost a little bit of ground. Buzz even applying the pressure to Jinnit now. He's close enough to think about it. He's definitely close enough to think about it. Jinnit does have DRS to defend, though, so he's not going to get as close as he wants. So Jinnit's got to, like, sort of compose himself here and then take another stab at this on the next run down the Kemmel Straight, and then hopefully those guys out front would lose a little bit of pace in those mediums, and then Jinnit can sort of just really put the hammer down and close the gap. But see those intervals just growing a tad. Sam falling away from Doth, Dernier falling away from Sam, so Starting to look a little more bleak for Zenith at the moment. Tried that extended stint through the safety car, and I would say it's like, you know, very close to having worked. I think he definitely needs to get through here very shortly. He can't afford to spend much more time behind these guys. But I say without that little bobble, he'd probably have gotten by already, and then he's probably on his way to fighting for at least P4. But instead, he's going to have to try and get by these two who are now duking it out. Camden and Dylan wheel to wheel. Camden down the inside through the bus stop chicane, gets the place. But Dylan's going to have that DRS for the Kemmel Straight. So Camden really needs to be on the throttle early here through La Source. See if he can get a nice exit. I mean, it's not going to be enough, I think. Dylan and Zenith are going to be all over him here. Already they're closing. Oh, bit of a moment for Camden. He had to lift a tad there, I think. Just not super confident in the grip, and Dylan is going to get by, and perhaps Zenith as well. Zenith does get through. Can Zenith make a move on his teammate here? No, he can't. Oh, Dylan's actually moved over for Zenith. That's a nice move. Very nice gesture, because I think Dylan is reserve. Is Dylan a reserve or a full-timer? I have no idea, to be honest with you. But obviously Dylan, on a much different strategy, is not going to hold up his teammate Zenith, even if he is a full-time driver. It would make sense to let him go. Especially as a reserve, makes sense to let him go. You really don't want to be holding up. Although I guess if he's a reserve, he would have let these other guys through as well, so they could go fight him. But so I would say he probably is a full-time driver in that seat. Camden needs to get through now. He's definitely close enough to think about it through Blanchimont. Very close as they head to Blanchimont. No, not close enough. Camden can definitely take a look into the bus stop. He does, down the inside. They're wheel to wheel. Jeez, the door slammed shut on Camden there. Didn't have much of a choice but to back out of that, or he would have lost his whole front wing. But Zenith is on Dernier now. Once he's by Dernier. Oh, he's touched Dernier. Has he made contact there? Oh boy. Jeez, Zenith's in a precarious position now. I guess you just have to, I mean, he never took the place. Although, you know, it's hard to say, like, would he have got this overtake done if that didn't happen? I think Zenith just has to go full bore here and not worry about it, and the stewards will decide. I would say it was obviously accidental, but he didn't take Dernier out or cause damage, so he might just get away with that one. Joshua's out. Oh, he's retired in the pits. But yeah, I think Zenith maybe just gets away with that, as it never really caused any permanent issues, though obviously a bit of an error that affected another driver. I'll have to see. But Zenith just needs to get the hammer down and start his charge now, not worry about what's going on behind him. Try and get up there to P4, and I don't think he'll get a penalty for that. I wouldn't think so. It'd be pretty tough to sell a penalty on that, I feel. Especially, I mean, he kind of yielded and let Dernier stay ahead for a moment. He was probably going to get him down the Kemmel Straight anyway, the argument I would make. You know, he didn't take the place in that corner where the incident occurred, so probably okay. Probably okay. Dernier will argue that his tires were affected by the move and he couldn't fight properly, and he'll throw the book at Zenith, Zenith's defense team, but Zenith will have none of it. So onward he goes. He's got a lap and a bit to catch Sam, which is probably about as far as he's going today. It looks like Doth put in a hell of a performance in quali. He's put in a hell of a performance in the race, and we get a nice chopper shot of Doth, who looks to be heading towards another podium. He's been really strong the last few races. May forgotten because we had the break week, but Doth on the podium a few times recently, so I'm sure he'll be very happy with his performance today. Let's get back to Dylan, who's applying pressure to Fuzz, and Camden and T-Money in tow. Fuzz making his way through Puhan. He's got Dylan in tow, but Camden all over the back of Dylan here. So Dylan still wheel to wheel with Camden here. Camden around the outside. Beautiful move from Camden Luca there. As I said, those hard tires would be a little bit better at the end of the race, and he's shown it there through the corner. Camden takes the place. This is going to give Dylan a really nice tow towards Blanchimont, though. He's got T-Money behind him, so something to think about. Dylan very wide there. Dylan and Camden still wheel to wheel through Blanchimont. They leave plenty of space for one another. Camden just trying to force Dylan to lift and pretty much put him on the curbing there just to say, like, come on, let me go. But Dylan wants none of it. So they are racing hard, these two. Fair and clean in my opinion, but not leaving anything more than a centimeter for each other. Great stuff there, wheel to wheel. Dylan keeps the place for the time being. Camden should get him here, though. Oh, what has he done? What has he done there? Oh, my Lord. Camden with a massive oversight. I think he didn't realize that Dylan had switched back to that side. And he has absolutely put Dylan into the barrier and torn his tire off as they headed towards Eau Rouge. So Camden... Jeez, Camden in, I mean, he's taken a huge chunk of his wing off with that as well, has he not? Yeah, he has, so he's in a really bad spot here. He's going to get a hefty penalty for that as well. That was a pretty, I mean, he basically drove him into the barrier DNF. I don't think it was intentional at all. I'm quite positive that was an accident, but nonetheless, he caused a DNF. He'll get a penalty for that for sure, so... Camden, I don't think is going to get any points here today when it's all said and done with the stewards. Scavney all over Puff here. I don't think that was on purpose. I mean, it looked on purpose, but I mean, it was so... Like, it kind of looked on purpose, but I feel like it was like... It was like it had to be a mistake. There's no... Like, he must have not realized you were there or something, or didn't realize where, like, he was looking on the wrong side of the track or something. I really don't know. That was bizarre, to say the least. But into the final corner here, Puff and Scavney duking it out. That will be for a handful of points once Camden is penalized, I'm sure. That is the end of the Grand Prix. So Nathan wins it. Sorry, I was really distracted by that incident there. Nathan wins it. Packer takes P2. Doth gets his podium. P3 for Doth. Sam with a hell of a performance tonight. Really good qualifying. Excellent race pace. That's my driver of the day there, Sam, I think. P4 for Sam after moving up from Tier 2. That's a really good drive. Jinnit takes P5. I don't know, Dylan. I really don't think it would have been on purpose. It was just, like, too, like... You know, it's just a very, like, it looked sudden and like just, it didn't look like malicious or anything like that. It just looked like you moved thinking that you maybe weren't, I don't know, maybe reacting to T-Money on the other side of him, moved over to get a better line and then just kind of forgot you were there and crunched you. I really don't know. It was a strange one, to say the least. But yeah, so Nathan wins it, Packer P2, Doth P3. That's your podium. We'll run you through the rest of the order here. We got to Jinnit into P5, so we'll go through the rest. Fuzz P6, Dernier P7, T-Money takes P8, Camden P9, Puff it gets P10. So I believe Camden will get a penalty for that incident, and would imagine that would be at least 5 seconds, probably more. So he's going to drop right out of the points, and that's going to put Puff in P9, Scavney into P10. I mean, guessing, obviously, you never know for sure, but it looked pretty bad. Scavney, P11, Ryan P12, Sharpshooter 13, Seabass 14, Excel Dillon 15, and Joshua, Beck, Eric, and Fusions all DNF'd. I think these two guys DNF'd in the pits. Eric in the pits as well, but Fusion's crashed out. And that's it for round 13. Let's get the guys in here for an interview, and hopefully the Discord is not in shambles after that crash. I mean, Camden's a good dude. I don't think he would do that. Like, you know, I had to be an accident. Unless he's just totally done with racing completely, and he's just like, you know what? Screw this guy. Putting him in the wall. I'm done. But no, I seriously doubt it. To me, that's that was just he missed you in his mirror, or the indicator was covered, or something along those lines, and he just moved over, not realizing what he was doing. But yeah, let's get that party chat going here. It's our usual suspects plus Doth. What do you think, Dylan? If you're still there, what's your take on that incident? Because there was that car on that third car on the inside, and I was thinking maybe Camden was looking at him and didn't realize you had tucked in on that side of him. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. Okay. Party chat. What you got, bud?
What's going on?
Oh, you know, just calming. Just doing comms.
There you go.
The old spaghetti Francorchamps.
Hey, my one of my personal favorites.
I can tell. You look dialed in tonight.
Cheers.
Quality pace looked good. Just looked like you just looked fast. I was on board with one of those laps, and I was like, "Dang, just looks like really hooked up tonight."
Cheers.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Packer.
Hey.
I tried to pull the gap back to you to to 9 seconds at the end. I just didn't have
I
it.
was making dude. Okay, I have two excuses. Okay, new wheel, right? And my room is approximately the heat of the sun right now. So, yeah, those are my excuses.
Hey, man. No sweating. No need to sweat a second place.
Well, when you're losing 8 points to Nathan, yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of the story of the season, though. I'd be too bummed about it. Just gotta like maximize those days where he doesn't show up, or where he nearly binned it again. I think like he was close. Cause he had that moment there.
Oh, out of no name, yeah.
Yeah, there was something happened, and he lost. You got ahead of him.
we were in the party together, and I saw him do that. I was like, don't worry, he'll be past me in a lap and a half, and he was past me in less than a lap. So
Yeah, but that to me it looked like, you know, that's like one of those things where it's like, and that's a corner where like if you do lose it there and you go the wrong direction, like you're out of the race. So
yeah, just unlucky, I guess, for me that he didn't go the other way.
yeah, I guess we'll just start with P3. We'll go back to Doth and we'll start the interviews there just so we can get them wrapped up. If Nathan shows up, we'll do him last. But Doth, obviously, like I said, you're looking really good tonight. One of your favorite circuits. Everybody knows it, and you certainly showed it tonight. Clearly the best of the rest out there. It looked like Nathan Packer, the top two, like normal, and then I think you were quicker than everybody else. So, and consistent-wise, just an excellent performance. It's been a few good races for you in a row now. How you feeling? You ready to fire Puff yet? You're done carrying this team on your back, or what?
I mean, I'm a little sore, but I mean, otherwise it's no. But honestly, no. Thanks. I mean, I love this track. I look forward to it every season we do it, and I was just kind of hoping for, just kind of hoping to keep my nose clean, and I thought I had really good race pace here, and just kind of stay. I didn't take a particularly aggressive setup, which is kind of not my MO.
What?
But yeah, I know. And I was
Shocked.
like, I think I can not get penalties here and just kind of keep it. And I was like, and I think I could be on for a podium. And then if there was a little bit of kind of banging up front, then I could maybe have snuck higher. But on pace, I mean, between Packer and Nathan, they're just freaking flying.
Yeah.
Like it didn't, I could have had 10 more laps. I wasn't going to close that gap for another 2 seconds that I needed to get within the penalties.
No, they're just
They're just too fast.
yeah, they're both too fast. I mean, even Nathan substantially quicker than Packer in qualifying, and you're like, Packer. Well, he was.
Hey.
Well, you
Well,
messed up.
we're not
Messed up?
denying that, but
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
my feelings.
You went airborne. I mean, I'm just saying.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. He puts the pressure on you. We don't see these mistakes when he's off.
Yeah. Whatever reason, he's just so much better at driving at 1:30 in the morning than he is at a normal time. But
Yeah. It's because there's no one else getting in his way. Like, you're the only one challenging him up the front there. So yeah. More people would slow him down. But on that note, obviously, I mean, that's how you feel about Nathan. Obviously, he's quick. You feel like he's quicker, and it's been tough sledding for you this season, trying to get a leg up on him. And it seems like every time you get an opportunity, something else goes wrong. Like, he had connection issues when he wasn't there the one day, and it was just like, really, like, what are the odds of that? But it's just doing a good job regardless. Obviously, like, you champion last season. This year it's been a lot more challenging with Nathan up at the front there. So. Are you content with P2, or do you think there's any point of the season where you might be able to consistently beat him, or any races that you're confident that you could beat him at that are coming up still, or?
let me take a quick look at the calendar. I know Singapore is next.
It's Singapore next week, no?
I class Singapore as top 2 out of my tracks, and
Okay.
or out of my best tracks, and it's one of Nathan's best as well. So I guess bad luck for me.
Yeah.
Compared to Nathan at Britain, I'm not sure if you guys know what the times are for Britain, but he's doing mid 23s in quali, and I'm doing like 24 zeros. So, and then Canada, I should be able to beat him there. France, no chance. Italy, I might have a shot, but he's 21 points in the championship lead now, so it's gonna be almost impossible, I want to say, but
21,
hopefully
21 points.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
not too bad.
I think
That's
I think it was 13 coming into tonight, and then he pulled out 8.
I mean, 21's not bad, though. Like, anything can happen.
3.
He bottles it and you win. Like, there you go, right?
Yeah,
Right.
but every time he bottles, I'm in the wall as well. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, every time you get an opportunity, something's gone wrong for you. It's weird. Like, it's very voodoo. I don't know what else to say.
it's more me making terrible decisions. Russia. Russia.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
There's been some questionable ones.
Yeah.
Most of the time I question them, I'm like, hey, you prove me wrong. And then when I'm like, I think he's onto something, it's like, nope, it was a bad choice.
Nope.
Shouldn't have done that. Okay, well, Nathan hasn't shown up, so.
I think he said he's not going to be. I think he's at his girlfriend's house, and his girlfriend. Well, considering it's I think it's like 2:30 in the morning for him. So
No talking.
Yeah. Do you think we could get Sam Edmund here for an interview, considering he scored his first points, and it was a 4th?
Was it his first points? I mean, if he wants
I think it was
to,
his first.
we can get him in there. Is he around? Yeah, I mean, why not? See if he joins. But yeah, that was a hell of a performance from Sam. He was just like on it tonight.
Yeah. I like when I looked up in quality, I was like, he's 5th. I'm like, that's really good. He's in the 41s. I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
his quality,
he
I've
ended up
looked and his
pipping me.
quality pace is actually pretty decent for moving up.
Oh yeah, definitely. I found the thing with Sam in the past was like a lot of racing problems. Like he was
Yeah,
always pretty quick and he was always
he's always
around
good
me,
in
but there
quali.
was
It's
always like
just
an incident.
yeah, racing is, I don't want to
Yeah.
say it's not the best, but like, I guess race pace, I guess,
Yeah, but
is
it's
just
definitely much
not
better
there.
now. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like he's been doing
Mhm.
way better now. Cause like me and him used to race each other like wheel to wheel a lot. Like we were around the same pace, and there was a lot of races where like we were wheel to wheel, and then something would go wrong on his end, and I would just end up getting by eventually, or like just being way ahead. But yeah, welcome Sam. Packer. Yes,
Yeah.
yes
Yes,
you are,
sir.
sir. Yeah, it was basically what happened. Nathan didn't show up, and Packer was like, "Well, Sam drove a hell of a performance today." I said, "You were my driver of the day. You looked really strong in qualifying. You cemented that in the race. Really good race pace with a P4. I mean, that's a really, really solid performance for someone who moved up from Tier Two. Like definitely one of the best performances of any of those Tier Two guys we've seen all season. So, congrats on that. How you feeling after that race? You got to be pretty stoked about that one." Hmm. That's Doth. Yeah. Yeah.
Once you break through, it gets easier. So there you go. You just did tonight, so now it'll start to come for you.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, the biggest problem was that you were trying to chase down Doth at Spa. I think that was your biggest downfall about not getting to the podium tonight. Because if it was it's Doth at Spa, he's an animal here.
Yeah, no, it was just it kind of changed. Kind of watched myself float out enough times during the practice race to be like, okay, well maybe I need to make a change for Monday. Thank you.
He was like 8/10 a lot faster than me. Yeah. I mean, I know this is not one of my good tracks. I just want to add that, but like, yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. I mean, a 41 flat as well on mediums in qualifying. Like, that's just
Yeah,
scary.
It's faster than my
I was
time
a
trial
little
time.
That's the
concerned about
fast. Like,
that.
that's faster than like I had Belgium on Saturday for LOE, so I've been doing like a pretty decent amount of practice. I did like 3 hours or something on Saturday, and my fastest lap that was valid was a 41.1, and he did a 41.0 on mediums.
Um, there's a guy there, Corey Racer, in the chat. He says he wants to join, but it's expired. I guess the Discord link.
The Discord link.
So
Let me see.
I can't do anything. I
Might have to
can't
update
message
it
him.
just in the bio, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
it says invite. You have to get one of those permanent ones.
yeah. I think we
One of
have
the
one,
permanent
but
invites.
even they seem to break down sometime. Corey
Yeah.
Racer, try to just leave a comment on or message somebody on the channel or something like that. We'll try to get you an invite and get you integrated. Um, I'm not really sure how to go about it, but we know your username, so someone will try to get them to reach out to you in one way or another, and we'll get you in there. So just hang tight. That's it for the interviews. I don't have anything else. It's 9:35. I think it's time to wrap things up, regardless. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it a night. Somebody on the admin team, please go get Corey Racer an invite. Man wants to join us, which is really positive to see. We don't see too many people actually on the live stream say, "Hey, I want to join." So I like that. That's it for round 13. This has been Tier 1. We run Monday nights 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday night at 8 p.m. we got Tier 2. Actually, wait a moment. Wednesday night at 8 p.m. we have a new tier starting up, Tier 3. My good friend there, Corey, we are recruiting drivers currently for that tier. I think there's room. There should be room for new guys anyway. Um, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays is going to be Tier 3, so they're going to get things kicked off this week. Just do a little mini season, 6 races, and then once this off season starts, we're going to have they're going to resort all 3 tiers by pace, and we'll have 3 full tiers for you Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then obviously we've got our EU tier Sunday afternoon. They race at 3 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. UK time. So 2 more races this week, actually 3 more races this week. But the 2 that you've grown accustomed to still to come. So, wow, it's a really early week for ZOR. We still got 3 races to go. That's it. I'm Arbiga. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you're interested in joining, leave a comment somewhere on the channel or message the admin or whatever you can do, and we'll try to get you integrated. And then tune in Wednesday night, and you should be able to see the debut for Tier 3. Get things rolling. Have a great one, everyone.